Hello, John.
Hey, Sean!
What an adventure this last episode has been.
Yes, indeed.
As you can see, I have this subterranean environment around me. I was hoping to do this from the other side of the basement where my multi-million-dollar green screen studio is set up, but apparently my webcam does not want to cooperate, so we're stuck here with this view for our last episode.
Well, what I wanted to say is, in case anybody wondered about the wonders of Sean's studio, I actually incorporated Sean's studio according to his specifications for a high cost. And what happened is, it looks like I'm actually in a kitchen, but I'm not. I'm actually in front of a green screen.
That's amazing what you can do with green screen technology.
Technology!
That's right. So we're here today. It's been probably a long time since our last episode. Probably, I think it was the fall, right? We did our last one in the fall.
It was the fall, and here we are, right up against the fall again.
Yes. So
the winter is coming.
The winter is coming. I can't wait for the winter, personally.
Whoa. No.
I love the winter.
I moved to Virginia to escape the winter.
I actually would like to inform you that our last episode was recorded on August 20th of 2015. So here we are, a mere 369 days later.
Wow.
Recording. Yes. So it's been something we've been talking about for a while.
Personally, I think we ought to make it a yearly. I mean, even though this is the final episode, I think maybe like once a year. We could do it like at Thanksgiving. But like, I think once a year is a good frequency.
Yeah, maybe. Or if we do, we'll call it something else. Not the
That's right. Yeah, Happy Thanksgiving with Sean and John.
I like that. Turkey time. Turkey time with Sean and John. Even better. But we decided to I think the reason, at least the reasons I thought we should kind of call it quits is even though we never did a show together in the same geographic location, you've left the Garden State and are now in the state of living free or dying.
Yes.
Or no, wait, isn't that Vermont?
It is Vermont. It's not.
Sorry about that.
Lots of people feel that way here.
I don't know what the state motto is for Virginia, but that's where you are now.
I think it's pretty much escape from other states.
Escape from other states makes sense.
Escape from other states, come to VA.
Yeah. Well, Virginia is for lovers. For those
Virginia is for lovers is actually the legitimate, like, current motto. People still use that, but they in hashtags they insert the thing that they want people to love. Like VA is for nature lovers, or VA is for food lovers, or VA is for beer lovers, or VA is for light lovers. Whatever you're trying to sell, you can like insert it for a small cost right inside of a hashtag.
There you go. So that's what you're in the sellout state.
That's right. Yep, pretty much.
So since you've moved, we decided that it would probably be best to, and the fact that we haven't been able to really record an episode in a year, both because of your busy schedule and my busy schedule.
You're pretty much your busy schedule and my lack of motivation to do anything that really required effort, and this requires effort because we care about this presentation.
We do. But I also think too that like at some point I feel as though we have really documented our philosophies on customer service.
Without question.
And I mean, we could continue this and just be talking about continual examples of good and bad customer service that we experience, but in the grand scheme of things, we're really going to be talking about the same issues over and over again. So,
but you know what I love is like we really had an opportunity to explore. We had an opportunity to talk about specific experiences that could be repeated and extended to your own personal experience. It doesn't matter if you're in Virginia. It doesn't matter if you're in New Jersey. It matters whether or not you're being treated well as a customer, because people can do these things for themselves. People know how to cook. They just don't know that they know how to cook.
Right.
People can give themselves a spa day. They just don't know that they can give themselves a spa day. So when you run into great customer service like Disney or like, and you really convinced me of the customer service of Disney, which is an accomplishment of this podcast, to be able to have me even consider Disney as a customer service representative, and for you to transform my feelings so completely to be like, hey, they really understand it, and here's why. That's the value of this podcast. So you can go back in our past history and you can really understand why we love customer service in New Jersey, customer service elsewhere, and customer service as a philosophy, as Sean said. And I think that philosophy makes its way into all of the parts of who I am and all the parts of who Sean is, and really hopefully extends into you. If you're sitting here watching this, it's like, did you get great customer service today? Why or why not? And what could you do in order to change it? Sean and I care. We wanted to change it. We want to make everybody understand that there's only a few dollars to spend. Even though you feel like you're rich, there's only a few dollars to spend. You go to one place for lunch, and you go to one place for dinner, and you go to one place for breakfast. What do you choose? You know, you want to walk somewhere. You want to spend a mile on a trail. Where do you go? Who is giving you the service that you want? Who is making your experience more human? Who is giving you something to walk away with and have something great? That's what we really wanted to extend with this podcast, and I think that we did it, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the one thing that's kind of unique about our show is we're really not, like a lot of podcasts, are beholden to kind of current events and what's going on in the world.
These are universal topics.
Yeah, I've been reflecting on our body of work for the past week or so since we agreed that we were going to do this last episode. And I see this as something that, even though we're ending it at 43 episodes, it's something I think really can live on for years beyond, and people can find it and dive into it. And all the things that we discussed, our philosophies, our examples of both good and bad, can live on forever as examples of good and bad customer service. And so I think as people maybe discover it after we're done or not, one of the things I'm looking to do next project with this is going to be to archive it in a way so that it is available for people to download.
I will contribute in whatever way that we decide is best, for sure.
Good. But that is a goal of mine, is to make sure that the work that we've done here does not go away, that it is available for that, so that people like our good friend Zach, who discovered us and informed us that we were the only customer service podcast not trying to sell anything.
We're just trying to sell good life, man.
That's it.
That's right.
So so that, I think that's kind of an explanation why we've decided to ramp it down and end it. And I think now's a good time as any. Here we are a year later from our last episode, and I think we have some final examples of some stuff that we've encountered over the last year that we want to discuss, and then also maybe do a little bit more reflecting before we call it an evening. So, John, why don't you get us started with the first example of customer service that you've experienced over the past year you want to share?
So we had talked about in the pre-show a little bit about 5 topics or 6 topics, but the first of my topics, in addition to what Sean wants to talk about, is the word grit. And Grit for me is a restaurant that is on the Charlottesville downtown mall. Of course, as Sean mentioned, I've recently moved from Princeton to Virginia. Really, at its core, to be close to my kids. And I am close to my kids, and that is a good reason to be here. But Charlottesville has its own reasons to draw you. It has its own reasons for you to come here, regardless of your children. And Grit is one of the reasons. Grit is on the downtown mall. And the downtown mall is a section of Charlottesville that most everybody who spends any time here knows. And it's a walking pedestrian mall. It is one of the longest in the USA. And it's one of the reasons that people love to call this home, because there's lots of little vendors and street vendors and buskers. And there's an amazing presentation venue at the end of the mall. And there's an amazing hotel at the front of the mall. And it's historical, and you can walk in any direction and find amazing things. But the thing that I often find when I go there is Grit, if I'm going there for breakfast. And Grit is a little breakfast cafe, and you go in there and you make your order, and they have amazing Benedicts, and they have breakfast sandwiches, and they have delicious coffee with refill prices, and they have an inside seating area, but the real action happens in the outside seating area. No matter where you are on the mall, you really want to have an outside seating area. And Grit has a beautiful one. It's really in the middle of the mall, so all the people who are coming down the mall, you get to see, and all the people who are going up the mall, you get to see. But if it's warm enough to be able to sit out in the outside part of the mall, the Grit is a great place to do it. Similarly with Miller's. Miller's is the same thing, but it's a different vibe. Grit is really about breakfast and lunch, and Miller's is really about lunch and dinner and evening and late night. And they have a pool table all the way in the third floor, and they have a sports lounge up in the third floor, and they have an outdoor area as well, and it's more of a party scene. But the thing that they have in common is that they understand that you are coming to the mall to have service of some kind. And you get the impression as you walk onto the mall that you are being welcomed to be serviced in whatever way that you want. And you can take that really in any direction that you want, but especially about food, especially about goods, especially about expertise, especially about media. And I've never really lived in a city like this before, but Grit and Miller's are two phenomenal examples of restaurants that meet all of the needs in combination, really. Even though they're not working really with each other, they meet all of the needs of certain users who walk along that mall. They take care of breakfast and lunch and dinner, and it's really American fare. But they make you feel like you are at home. They make you feel, even if you don't live here, they make you feel like you belong there. And they give you a warm meal, and they give you a smile when they give it to you. And they say, you can sit wherever you want, and you can stay there as long as you want. And here's some free Wi-Fi. And here's the beautiful light, and here's some leaves that fell to the ground, and here's all of the other experiences that you can have on this mall. But we're giving you that plus food plus love. What is better than that?
I can't think of anything else. I mean, it really, to me, sounds like you've discovered something that we don't really necessarily have too many of here in New Jersey, and that is kind of...
Yeah, and it's sad because I can't wait for you to visit so that I can show you what I've learned.
I'm looking forward to it because we don't really have that kind of, I don't want to say like corner coffee shop, but it's like it seems to me like it's the community space. You know what I mean? Like it's a place for gathering, for eating, breaking bread, sharing ideas. Kind of what I guess in the Princeton area, the kind of the coffee shops of the Princeton area are. But this is an expanded kind of restaurant offering, which is something that we really don't have. It's something lacking up here in the New Jersey area.
I think they exist. I think they are spread out. And in Charlottesville, because it's sort of a mid-sized city. It's not a Philadelphia, and it's not I don't know. It's not like Atlanta. But what it is it's a small town that has had the opportunity to grow in a really significant way over the time since Jefferson was here. And it's like there's so much that was learned in each of those lessons since Monticello. And it influences everybody who walks through this city, I believe, thinks about Jefferson once a day. They would have to. And when I drive around in Princeton, I guess I think about Washington once a day, and I might even think about all the things. There's so many weird connections actually between Charlottesville and Princeton. It's really made me feel at home. But the service there, as much as I loved it, I think could be expanded and extended to include the kind of love that I've really encountered here, and low prices. Low prices are tough, but in this environment, it's possible. And they give value and love in equal measure. And that is what I've encountered here everywhere that I've gone. I have so many stories to tell you, but I guess it'll just be like, over a fire when you come instead of in front of an audience. But or better yet, I mean, I can't wait to take you to these places and really show you, like, of the things that you and I have expressed how much we love, the things that you and I have fallen in love with as far as customer service. I find it here in Charlottesville, Virginia, again and again and again and again. You don't have to wait for it. You almost begin to expect it. And when you run into anything but, it's like, wow, why wasn't that person kind like every other person I run into on the street, in an alley, anywhere? Like, kindness is it, man. Kindness is the core principle of what we're talking about. If you understand how somebody relates to you and you can give them what they want because you love them, just because they have hands or they have a mind, like, that's customer service. I want to serve you because this is the way that I want to be served. It's the golden rule, serve others as you would want to be served yourself. That is the outcome of our show, by all means.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. So that's awesome that you've already just made these discoveries and that you're becoming a regular at these places. Hopefully you can let these people know of your experience with customer service in other parts of the country, and let them know that they are a shining example of what it is that we subscribe to and believe in.
Every day on Instagram, every day on Facebook, every day in whatever social media context I can, I try to let the rest of the world know. But every day in person, I shake hands. I say, listen, I'm from Princeton. They don't do it this way here. And I love the way that they do it, but I love the way that you do it differently, and keep doing it. And it's like, everybody's like, I've heard that so many times. That's why people are converging. This is like going to be the next Austin. This is going to be the next San Diego or whatever. It's going to be like the next place that people converge upon, because it's just a beautiful place to live, where people really understand the value of giving yourself to another person for a minute, and getting the value of another person back to you for a minute. It's like, that's all we need,
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I look forward to coming down there someday and exploring these places and checking them out with you. This sounds
next
like
time
a
you're
really
in Washington, man. Next time you come down DC, let's do it.
All right, sounds good.
Sweet.
So I'm gonna
change.
change things up on you, actually, because while you were sitting here talking to me, off to my left, because like I said, I'm in my basement. Off to my left, my luggage is over here.
Can you show me your luggage?
They're giant. It's giant luggage.
Yeah, show me it. That sounds like a great shot.
I'm not. I'm all connected, and we had problems before. I don't want to touch. I don't want to touch anything. I'm sorry. But staring at my luggage reminded me of a very horrible customer service experience that I had back in June and July. So I'm gonna my first topic that I wanted to talk about, I'm substituting it for this. So as you know, I was traveling quite a bit for my job, working for a major technology company who has a blue logo. And
you're not allowed to talk about them?
I don't want. It's not that I can't. I'd rather not. And
they made a drawing of you.
No, Ryder did. Ryder
Oh,
University.
that was Ryder?
Ryder made the drawing, yes.
Wow. Where's my drawing? Wait. Anyway, go ahead.
So I needed to finally invest in some luggage that was carry-on size. I have luggage here that my wife and I use. It's check size. When we travel together, trying
what
to
do you
do.
mean? It's a good size for traveling to Czechoslovakia, or
No, like you have to check it. It's too big.
Oh. Yeah.
And when we travel, we don't see a point in doing 2 carry-on bags and then fighting. It's just horrible. I'm sure you know the carry-on situation in the airline industry is awful.
Yep.
But in the interest of, being efficient, I said, all right, why don't I get a carry-on bag? I'll keep it with me. I'm usually one of the first people on the plane. And the reason I did this was because I had gotten a new credit card that was an American Airlines credit card, which meant I was given priority boarding access. So I knew I would be on the plane early, and I would always have overhead room to put my bag. So I said, now's the time to get a carry-on bag. So I went to Target, and I went to the luggage section, and I found an American Tourister bag that had tags on it all over the place that said, this is carry-on size. Here are the dimensions. This is, certified for carry-on, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, perfect, good to go. Bought the bag. I had a trip coming up in June, packed it up, got my stuff, got to the airport. As I'm walking I have the TSA pre-check program because I don't like messing around with security. So as I was walking to the gates.
Wait, whoa. You have the TSA pre-check program?
Yes, I do.
How does that happen?
You just sign up for it.
Oh. I thought you had to be like a military personnel or something. They don't advertise it well.
No, it's anybody can sign up for it. It's like $180 and it's good for 5 years.
And you just like walk through security?
Pretty much. I go through a standard metal detector. I don't have to take my shoes off. I don't have to open my bag. Nothing.
Do they know your love for bombs?
They know that. I mean, they don't know about my love.
Sean, do they know your love for bombs?
I mean, they know that I am the bomb. I mean, because I'm a cool guy.
Yep.
But so as I'm about to go into before you can kind of go into the pre-check area, there's a person that you have to show your boarding pass to show that designates that you're pre-check.
Right.
It's very exclusive club. And as I was doing that, this woman from the other side shouted out to me that, "Sir, I need you to come here with your bag." I said, "Okay," and she calls me over and she says, "Your bag's too big." I said, "What do you mean my bag's too big?" I said, "I just bought this. It's carry-on bag. I bought it specifically because it's carry-on." She said, "Put it in the sizing tool. I'll show you. It's too big." And sure enough, I put it in the sizing tool, and it was like literally like an inch too wide.
Right.
I was pissed.
So it caused a danger to yourself and others.
Apparently. So I had to go and check the bag. It wasn't a big deal to do that because I have the credit card and my first check bag was free. But it defeated the entire purpose of having the bag. So, I went on my trip. I came home and I reached out to American Tourister on Twitter about this. And actually, I was in the airport. I was sitting in the airport. I reached out to him about it right there and then. And, we had a conversation over Twitter. It was very pleasant. What type of bag was it? I reported the bag. I actually had the tags for the luggage with my wife took pictures of the tags for me at home. They were still on my desk. So I was able to get photos of the tags, send them to the representative. Right away, the representative was like, "Wow, yes, it says it's carry-on size. This is the first time we're hearing about this. This is an issue with this model of bag." I'm going to escalate this right away. So it was an excellent experience right away. I'm sitting in the airport. I got heard right away within 5 minutes of tweeting it out to them. Had a whole back and forth with them. Sent them photos of the tags. Very receptive, wonderful. We're going to take care of this. And there I go. So I went on my trip, and I thought, this is great. I'm going to be taken care of. I was looking for a refund on my bag. That's what I was looking for. I couldn't return it to Target because I'd cut the tags off, and I'd used it on a trip. So I was not going to be able to return it. So I needed the refund from the manufacturer. And I thought, okay, this is going to be easy. It's going to be no big deal. So I go on my trip. I come home, and I start now doing the real serious work with the escalated customer service representative, who it turns out is Samsonite. As I'm sure you know, Samsonite, they now own American Tourister. So
I did not know that.
apparently there's a big luggage conglomerate, and its name is Samsonite.
Yep, just like every other.
Yep. So I then am working with the customer service representative at the next level above Twitter. So I had to fill out
the next level above Twitter. Wait.
Yes. So I had to fill out an incident report. It was into an incident management system, and it was filing an IT ticket. And I provided them with copies.
Which we are both very familiar with.
Very familiar with, yes. I had to provide them with copies of the tags and everything. So it comes down to, and I have to wait days, right? So this investigation takes, they tell me, it's going to take like 2 weeks before I hear anything back. So finally 2 weeks go by, get an email back, and they tell me, listen, we can give you a bag that we have that will conform to the standards of American Airlines.
Are you serious?
I said, oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Wait, your bag was not conformant
to the sizing standards of American Airlines.
Well, why would anybody sell a bag that was not conform? Is it especially old?
No, it was a brand new bag.
Yeah, why? I don't understand that. Why would anybody sell a bag that was not in conformance for that purpose?
Well, apparently it was in compliance with other airlines. It's Delta and American Airlines have different standards for.
Wow, and they just merged like a year ago, right?
Not Delta and American Airlines. American Airlines and U.S. Airways.
Right. It's hard to keep track, honestly.
It is, yeah. And so I said, okay, listen. They're like, listen. I said, I fly American Airlines because I live near Philadelphia. That's whose dimensions I'm concerned about. So if you send me a bag that conforms to their standards, then I'll be happy. That's great. So the woman says, all right, let me get back to you. I'll have to find which model of bag I can get for you, and I'll send it to you if it's acceptable. So she goes back, she reaches it back to me in a day or two and says, this is the bag that we want to offer you. So I start researching the bag. My first problem is that I spent $90 on the bag on the bag that I bought at Target, and they wanted to substitute it with a bag that cost $69.99. And if I actually had purchased it from Walmart, it would have been $49.99. So a difference of $40 to $50 between my bag and what the bag that they're offering me is. So I said to the customer service person, listen, I'm okay if you want to send me this bag, but what compensation is Samsonite going to give me in the price difference? I spent $90 on a bag, and you're going to give me a $60 bag. Where's my compensation for the difference in price? And the customer service rep says, well, we're not going to give you any. So I was like, oh, okay. So, you're going to tell I'm out $40 is what you're telling me. And so I was not happy with that. And I pushed it to the next level. So it was a lot of back and forth over this bag, right? We had I got a very heated with them. The customer, just even to get them to go to the next level was a whole conversation. I raised the issue of, this is false advertisement. You have tags on the bag. It's a carry-on class. I reported it to the person. Initially, they said they'd never heard an issue like this with this bag before. You guys aren't standing by your products. You're billing something as carry-on. It's not carry-on. You're not standing by your products. And the substitute that you're offering me is not equal value. So either give me a refund in the bag or give me a complete refund. Oh, well, we can't give you a complete refund. So it was a whole entire fiasco. And it went on for an additional 2 weeks of back and forth. At the end of it, I finally got an email from a supervisor that said, you need to send us the bag back, and we'll cut you a check for $90. Which I didn't even get my tax back. I just got the $89.99 MSRP for the bag, which was a little frustrating. But at this point, to eat it for $7 or $6 or whatever it is and be done with it, I was fine. So I had to get a box, put the luggage in the box, slap the label on it that they sent me, send it in, and they sent me a check. But I had to jump through a lot of hoops to get my money back. And it was a one-time use scenario. It was the marketing on the bag, the labels on the bag were clearly not true. When I was dealing with the customer service reps, they were, oh, well, according to our information, this conforms to American Airlines standards, and I'm telling them it's not. I had to put it in the sizing tool; it was too big. So, you know, it was a lot of song and dance. And after all was said and done, I actually did go on Amazon and started to look at some of the other carry-on size bags that Samsonite and American Tourister offer on Amazon. And I found out that a lot of the quoted measurements on those bags are actually not true, that they're actually larger, and that there were many people who had left reviews on Amazon saying, I brought this bag to the airport and I wasn't able to carry it on because it didn't conform to the sizing. So there's major issues there with Samsonite and American Tourister in quoting the proper dimensions on their luggage and standing behind their products when they say something's carry-on. So very disappointing. I will never buy another piece of Samsonite or American Tourister luggage ever again. I'm done. You know, even though I got my money back, I was very disappointed in the way I was treated. And the way that this scenario was handled. Again, it was phenomenal through their Twitter. Their Twitter account was another Twitter account that I would hold in high regard for customer service. But once it was handed off to the actual customer service team, the ball was dropped in a big way and very disappointing.
Well, that's hard to hear me right now.
I hear you just fine right now.
Okay. I'm having a whole bunch of stuff going on my machine, so I'm happy to hear that you can hear me.
Yeah.
Because I can't see you. But yeah, it's that kind of moment where you really realize that if we just took a moment and sort of treated each other as humans, that you would be able to get through that moment a lot easier.
Absolutely. And I didn't understand what was so difficult about them just saying, oh, we'll just send the bag back to us, we'll send you your money. Like, I didn't understand what the big deal was. But apparently it was a big deal, and they were not happy to do that. So, you know, eventually it got worked out, but, you know, it was expressed to me that this was a one-time courtesy. So, and that will be the last time that I ever am courteous enough to buy any of their products.
Yeah, it sounds like you had definitely a negative experience.
For sure. So that's my Samsonite story.
That is a good Samsonite story. I am tempted to tell a story about the BSA. Are you interested?
Yeah, I was as a former member of the Boy Scouts of America through my formative years as a Cub Scout and a Weeblo. You know, I have a great love of that organization, a great appreciation for the values that they stand for and that they teach. As an organization, if I had a son, I would encourage them to join. I would not force them, but encourage them to participate. I have many family members who are members of the organization and have gotten a lot of good out of it. So anytime somebody wants to talk to me about the Boy Scouts of America, I'm always happy to hear about it.
Well, I'm here to talk to you about it for sure.
That's great. Let's go and do it.
Okay. This weekend, in the event that you know who I am, I'm John Lomasny, as it says right there on the screen. On lomasny.com, there's a story of a hiking trip that I took with my son. It was through the BSA. And the gist of it is that it was an 8-mile trip, and my son and I were not prepared for that 8-mile trip. They tried. They told us about the right shoes and the right food and to pack lightly. But despite the fact that I walk every day and that I really rely on my steps, my step count and Fitbit to give me an understanding of where my fitness is, I was not prepared for an 8-mile hike up a mountain. And that would not be a problem, except that I didn't predict that I was not going to be prepared. And so I packed as I thought that I should, and I went up on this mountain. And at the end of the day, we were left behind because that was the nature of this thing, was that we just had to get up to the mountain. And we were the last ones who had to get up, but we were not able to. And I'm beginning to understand that that's okay. But at the time, it did not feel good. At 7 o'clock on the top of a mountain that we needed to get down of, in order to make a phone call and get home. It didn't feel right. And we did it. My son and I got out. We traveled 3 miles down a mountain, even after we were exhausted. And we made it all the way down. And we lived. We didn't encounter any bears or any other animals that we didn't expect. We didn't have to worry about the food that we had. We didn't have to start a fire. We didn't have to get a tent up, even though we had all those things in our pack. And we could have done that. We did not have to sit in the pitch black dark and discover how we were going to live through the night, because we went home. We made a choice. It was not the choice that the BSA would have wanted. The BSA wanted us to go to the top. But we didn't make it up, and that's okay. Can you still hear me, Sean?
Yeah, you're coming through perfectly clear. I hear you. Great audio and video.
Great, thank you. At the end of the night, though, it was about 20 minutes after 8, and it was pitch dark. And we didn't really know where we were, because I was relying on the expertise of others. And it was harrowing. It was scary, especially for my son, who's 11, who I love dearly. And there is nothing quite like me seeing him cry, because we are hopelessly without safety. He needed hope at that moment, and I was not able to provide it for him. But we made it out, and that's the important thing. We got home to hike another day, and we certainly will hike another day, but we'll be more prepared. If you're interested in the story of what happened with me and my son, I encourage you to go to lemastny.com and go ahead and read that story. And Sean, gratefully, I say that Sean said that it was well written, and that's all I really try to strive for. But it was a moment that I wanted to capture and that I thought was important. And it wasn't really about hiking. It really was not. It was about choosing something other than the default. We had this idea in our mind, this golden idea of being up on a mountain and seeing this very particular thing. And what we didn't see was being almost all the way up to the top of that mountain, but not all the way up. And not seeing the peak and feeling despair because we hadn't reached the peak. Instead of feeling like jubilant joy and accomplishment of having reached where we reached. That's a huge difference. And I think that needs to be emphasized in organizations like the BSA. I do not discredit the BSA with my experience. I should have been more prepared. And the BSA did what they could in order to prepare me in a very reasonable way. I'm here to say that reason does not come into play when it comes to being by yourself on the side of a mountain without a cell phone in the middle of nowhere in the dark with animals around. Reason does not apply. The only thing that applies is survival. And survival needs to be considered before you end up on the side of a mountain in the dark, not knowing where you are. And that is nobody's fault but mine. I should have known better. But the BSA could provide itself with a great service and value by making sure that the people who attend the kinds of trips that we attended this weekend, that we are prepared for by some sort of a test. I would recommend that test for anybody. I gave myself a test. I said, if I can't walk 10,000 steps with a pack on my back for a few days before the trip, then I should not be on that trip. But I did not give myself that test before, and I'm sorry that I did not. And I certainly did not give my 11-year-old son that test before we went. And I'm sure wishing that I had. I'm sure wishing that the BSA would implement something like that. I don't know if that test applies to everybody. The other kids seem to be fine, quite honestly. But if you read the story, you see there's some details in there that I wish I had known ahead of time.
One thing I want to just add to you is, I like I said, as a former member, I was a member, 20 some years ago. I'm sure things have changed. I have family members that are active members or were active members recently, have close family friends as well. I guarantee you, if you reached out to other scouting organizations, whether in the state of Virginia or New Jersey, and asked them about the preparations for major hiking trips, I would put a large sum of money on the fact that a lot of the things that you're saying the BSA failed you and your son by not preparing you, that these other organizations have done. I feel like this potentially is a failure of the chapter or sect or troop, whatever term you want to use, that your son is a part of. I don't know that this is standard.
I will say, in their defense, they have told me that they intend to have a council meeting to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Well, that's great. I mean, I'm happy to hear that. But I guarantee you, if you contacted the national chapter, or and reported your experience, they would not be happy about it.
I'm sure.
I
don't know if I want to start that kind of trouble.
I'm not saying you should, but my point is that I feel like this may be a localized issue to the troop that your son is a part of. I don't know that this would be the experience that you might have had if you were a member of a troop in New Jersey or in Indiana or the state of Florida or whatever. I just feel like in
Pennsylvania, I was part of Troop 332 or something.
It's a mixed bag when you have you have parents who volunteer their time. They're not necessarily experts in these areas, when it comes to hiking or and sometimes things slip through the cracks. Like, is this family that's going to join us prepared to go on this hike with us? I've read your story. It's a horrible experience that I would wish upon no one. And I'm grateful that you and your son made it out alive and that you're safe and you weren't hurt. But at the end of the day, I don't think this is something that is representative of what other families are experiencing across the country.
No, I don't think so.
So I would
I have a low battery warning, and so if we can do anything just to close this out so I can save the broadcast, I think that's probably for the best.
Okay. Well,
but we will continue this conversation offline for sure.
Sure thing. It's been a pleasure spending all these years with you doing this, and I couldn't have asked for a better partner.
Absolutely. I would not choose anybody else if ever I had the opportunity again. You are the person.
Thank you to everyone that has joined us on this adventure, and everyone that's discovering us late or has discovered us as we started it. We appreciate it and your support, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future if you find us. But thanks again for everything, and we're not far. We won't be far. We're still online. You can still reach us, and we look forward from hearing from you.
Yeah, you can find us anywhere, and we're certainly going to continue these conversations offline. But it's nice to have you be able to have some insight into the conversations that we have, because Sean and I have fantastic conversations, as you know.
All right, John. Thanks again.
Thanks.
And
I will talk
to you soon, John.
Thanks, man. Bye.